Parker County 4-H, Kayla Neal here, and today I'm going to show you how to make pumpkin puree. For those of you who are participating in our pumpkin growing contest, you know that we also have a cooking contest, and we've gotten a number of questions about how to cook pumpkin. So I thought I would take the opportunity and show you a couple of different ways, and we're going to start with making pumpkin puree. Now, pumpkins are an underutilized product across the board. We see it a lot in the holiday season just with our pumpkin pies, but this is a great source of antioxidants such as beta carotene, hence the orange color, as well as they're loaded with vitamins and minerals. So this is really a power food, and if we can incorporate them into the different foods that we eat, such as maybe soups or raviolis. We all know the pumpkin pies, but pumpkin breads. This is again a great source of nutrients, and pumpkin has a lot of added health benefits as well. So it's something that if you haven't tried before, I encourage you to try it. And it's really an inexpensive product. And for those of you that are growing it at home, you're probably going to have a number of pumpkins and you're wondering what to do with them. So they aren't just decorations. I have a pumpkin pie pumpkin. That's actually one of the varieties that we did provide you with. And that's what I'm going to be cooking today. But you can use any variety of pumpkin to cook. The one important thing to keep in mind about the pumpkin pie pumpkin is it's specifically for cooking, so it has more flavor than our, say, jack-o'-lantern pumpkins or our giant pumpkins. So if you love the flavor of pumpkin, then you most definitely want to use the pumpkin pie pumpkins. If you're not a huge fan of pumpkin and you want a more mild flavor, then I would say use one of the jack-o'-lantern varieties or even the giant. But today we will be using our pumpkin pie pumpkin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the stem off here. Now, of course, if it's a 4-H'er doing this, you need to take great caution in using your knives. You want to make sure that it is a sharp knife, and pumpkins aren't easy to cut. So take your time with it, be very careful, and make sure that you do have an adult around just in case you have any trouble. So we're going to pierce the skin just to get started, and then I'm just going to work my knife around and cut the stem off of this pumpkin. And you can see it's not that easy to do, so you want to be very careful. So we're just going to move this to the side, and then what I'm going to do is turn it over because that's my flat surface, and I'm actually going to cut this pumpkin in half. That's a little easier to do. Now we're going to clean out the seeds and this internal membrane, but we're not going to throw it away because that's another video that we're going to bring to you, and that's making roasted pumpkin seeds. So we're just going to scrape this out, and actually I'm going to grab a spoon because that will be helpful. So just scrape it out, try to get all of the membrane out. So now what we're going to do is lay our pumpkins face down or cut side down on a baking sheet that's been lined with parchment paper. That just makes for easy cleanup. When we start roasting the pumpkins, the sugars are going to start caramelizing, and so it can stick to your pan. So this just makes it a little easier to clean up after your pumpkins have roasted in the oven. So I'm going to add them to our oven that's preheated to 400 degrees, and we're going to bake them for about 35 to 40 minutes. The way we'll know that they're done is we'll pierce the skin of the pumpkin with our knife, and if it slides easily through, then that's an indicator that it is done baking. So we're going to add it to our oven. We'll bake for 35 to 40 minutes. The oven, it has baked for about 35 minutes, and you can see when I pierce the skin with the knife, it easily goes all the way through. And that's our indication that the pumpkin is done. So you could let this cool. This is still pretty hot. So if you are working with warm pumpkin, you want to make sure that you use tongs, but we are going to now separate the meat of the pumpkin from the skin. And it's kind of just falling out, which is super nice. So we can just peel the skin off. And I'm just using my baking dish here because I totally believe in fewer dirty dishes, if at all possible. And I'm putting the pumpkin into our Ninja food processor that we have. And you can do this in a food processor, you can do it in a blender. And I'm just gonna do half and process it down. And then we'll do the other half in a second. And you don't have to use a food processor. This pumpkin is so soft that you could use the back of a fork too. Just be careful if you are processing items that are warm or hot, you can have air buildup, so you want to be careful and not have it spew all over you. So this is our gorgeous, fresh pumpkin puree. Look at that. That's so super easy. This is my first time to do it, so you guys are seeing my trial and for the most part my mistakes. That one went a little better. And then again, when you go to open this, if you have any type of warm liquid, it can build up pressure in there. So just be very, very careful. It's like opening a soft drink, because there may be some air pressure in there. Okay. Hopefully by October 31st, y'all will have a number of pumpkins on the vine. And so you can be creative in your meal planning and try a couple of different recipes with pumpkin.